The world will always be grateful to China for introducing the beautiful fabric silk, a secret they kept for thousands of years. But have you ever wondered about the meticulous process behind silk manufacturing? How do farmers produce so much silk for the global clothing industry? Let's dive in and find out. The entire manufacturing process of silk is truly amazing. From the worm's cocoons to the finest bed sheets, the steps involved in silk production showcase one of the key aspects that make China famous worldwide. Did you know that China produces over 1 billion tons of silk each year, accounting for 70% of the world's output and leading the field? Coming in second is India, the world's second largest producer and exporter of silk. Silkworms, the larvae of the moth Bombyx mori native to Asia, spin a cocoon of fine, strong, lustrous fiber that becomes commercial silk. The culture of silkworms, known as sericulture, involves raising various species distinguished by the quality of the silk they produce. Silkworms primarily feed on the leaves of mulberry trees, genus Morus, and sometimes on the Osage orange, Maclura pomifera. Bombyx mori does not bite, making it an ideal worm for feeding most reptiles, amphibians, and other animals. These worms also offer great nutritional value as live feeders. Newborn silkworms are small enough for most baby reptiles to eat, and young silkworms can be fed to grow to a desired size. Silkworms are soft-bodied, slow-moving, and can grow up to 3 inches in length. They are relatively fast-growing, reaching about 3 inches, and ready to cocoon in as little as 25 to 28 days. Every year, Chinese farmers raise billions of silkworms to create silk, a valuable material used in many daily and industrial applications. The very first step in silk manufacturing is sericulture, which describes the process of gathering silkworms and harvesting their cocoons to collect the raw materials. Female silk moths lay anywhere from 300 to 500 eggs at a time. These eggs are incubated in a controlled environment until they hatch into larvae, also known as caterpillars. Selecting caterpillars carefully ensures the quality of the eggs and the health of the offspring. Caterpillar eggs are laid in large batches, collected by farmers, and placed in a specialized incubation environment. The young caterpillars then go through a rapid growth phase, during which they are continuously fed fresh mulberry leaves, their primary food source. These leaves are chopped into small pieces and fed regularly to provide the necessary nutrition for vigorous growth. Farmers often use lime powder to disinfect the breeding area and maintain the appropriate pH level, ensuring a clean and safe environment for healthy silkworm growth and high-quality silk production. Did you know that silkworms have a unique trait where they only grow according to how much they are fed? They can go up to a week without food, but beyond that, they may become dehydrated and eventually perish. So the farmers make sure that the silkworms feed continually on a vast amount of mulberry leaves to encourage growth. It takes about 6 weeks for them to reach their full potential, growing to around 3 inches in length. At this point, they stop eating and begin to raise their heads, signaling they are ready to spin their cocoons. Attached to a secure frame or tree, the silkworm will begin spinning its silk cocoon by rotating its body in a figure-8 movement around 300,000 times, a process that takes approximately 3 to 8 days. Each silkworm produces a single strand of silk, which measures about 100 meters long and is held together by a natural gum called sericin. Each farm can harvest millions of cocoons each season. Before being used in industry, silk cocoons undergo a screening process with specialized equipment to remove inferior ones, keeping only the best for high-quality silk production. This task still requires manual labor and cannot be fully replaced by machines. Companies in China purchase large quantities of cocoons from local farmers, offering attractive prices that provide significant additional income for the farmers. Conveyor belts continuously transport the cocoons to the screening section, where damaged or substandard cocoons are removed and sorted. The cocoons are then introduced into the boiling line, which not only helps separate the silk fibers easily, but also kills bacteria and removes impurities, ensuring high-quality silk. Each thread is carefully reeled from the cocoon in individual long strands, which are then wound on a reel. Some of the sericin may still remain on the threads to protect the fibers during processing, but this is usually washed out with soap and boiling water. Here's a fun fact. Did you know it takes around 2,500 silkworms to produce 1 pound of raw silk? The next step in the manufacturing process is dyeing. Once the silk threads have been washed and degummed, they undergo bleaching and drying before the dyeing process begins. Traditional silk dyeing techniques once relied on natural dyes sourced from local environments like fruits or indigo plant leaves. Bundles of threads would be immersed in pots containing hot indigo leaves and water, a process repeated over several days to achieve the desired color tone and quality. However, these traditional methods are nearly extinct in commercial silk production. Modern technology has ushered in the use of acid dyes or reactive dyes, offering a wider array of colors and shades to meet diverse demands. Despite these advancements, the fundamental process remains similar. Silk is immersed in a dye bath to absorb the color. It can be fed into the bath through cylinders or fixed to a round jig submerged in the dye. Today, manufacturers often employ piece dyeing as one of the final steps, aiming to minimize waste. By keeping plain white stock ready for dyeing, they reduce the need to hold excess inventory of specific colors that may not be ordered and used. The traditional spinning wheel has always been and remains an integral part of the silk production process. Despite advancements in industrial processes that now allow for faster silk thread spinning, these methods essentially replicate the functions of the classic spinning wheel. Before the era of machinery, skilled farmers with years of experience meticulously carried out silk reeling by hand. Softened cocoons were fed through a reeling machine, where silk threads were drawn out and wound into continuous strands. Typically, a single silk thread was composed of multiple cocoons to ensure length and strength. The silk reeling machine enhances efficiency and ensures the uniformity of silk threads. Meanwhile, the manual method, performed by skilled farmers, imparted finesse and high quality to intricate silk threads. Weaving follows the spinning process, where the final piece of silk fabric is crafted. Silk can be woven in various ways. Common styles include satin weave, plain weave, and open weave, with the finished texture depending on the chosen method. After spinning and winding, silk fibers are processed to create soft and durable linings for quilts. These lining sheets are woven together to form a large, uniform layer. Finally, the quilts undergo meticulous quality inspection to uphold excellence. Chinese silk quilts are renowned for their superior quality, epitomizing the finesse and prestige of the nation's silk industry. Typically, weaving involves interlacing two sets of threads, so they intertwine and create a sturdy, uniform fabric. The threads are woven at right angles to each other, known as warp and weft. The warp runs vertically along the fabric, while the weft runs horizontally across it. Once a piece of silk requires a special pattern or design, it undergoes printing after pre-treatment, accomplished through either digital printing or screen printing. Digital silk printing employs advanced textile printers to transfer hand-drawn or digitally created artwork onto fabrics using ink. Conversely, screen printing, a traditional method, achieves a similar outcome with a potentially more bold and vibrant appearance due to thicker ink application. To achieve its renowned lustrous sheen and desired texture, silk undergoes finishing processes before it is deemed ready for use. Various chemical treatments during finishing can impart valuable properties such as fire resistance and crease proofing. Originally cultivated in Asia and Africa, silkworm farming for silk production now spans many regions with moderate climates worldwide. Different silkworm species are valued based on the quality of silk they produce and their reproductive capabilities. The discovery of silk in ancient China dates back to 3000 before Christ, attributed to Yixi Shi, wife of Emperor Huang Ti, who unintentionally discovered silk as a weavable fiber. Silk finds diverse applications globally, including handmade silk thread jewelry popular in India, where artisans craft earrings, necklaces, and bracelets. In Afghanistan, raw silk threads adorn rosaries with sleeves, collars, and edges, utilizing raw silk fabric, known as silk noil, for shawls and chadors. Each country showcases unique uses for silk products, reflecting its versatility and cultural significance.